All right, now 3 o'clock, Chad here. The Portland Trailblazers are going to introduce their new head coach, Micah Nori. The press conference scheduled for tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Elsewhere in the NBA, Austin Reeves plans to sign a $185 million max extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. Brad Stevens says Jaylen Brown remains, quote, a big part of us, meaning the Celtics, after his name had been circled in trade talks with the Milwaukee Bucks in their pursuit of Giannis. From the NFL, 49ers wideout Brandon Ayuk says he will sign with the Commanders if he's cut by the Niners. He wants to reunite with his college teammate Jaden McDaniels. They played together at Arizona State. Mariners have a 2.5-game lead over the A's in the AL West. They're at Pittsburgh today. That first pitch coming up at 3:40. Brian Woo is going to be on the bump for Seattle.
Live from the Coors Light Studios, it's the Rip City Drive with Chad Doing. Coors Light, cold as the Rockies. Please drink responsibly.
With the first pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Anise Debansa Jr. from Brigham Young University.
Doesn't find Rashford. Hooked away by Sebo. There's the final whistle. Ghana have done it. They hold England, one of the tournament favorites, to a scoreless draw in Foxborough, Massachusetts.
You could put grass in MetLife and in SoFi. I think you could do that year-round if you really gave it. I mean, that's my opinion.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
All right, Rip City Drive. What's going on, my friends? Chad Doing with you on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm a little concerned. I don't know what's going on with the building, but lately someone's got the thermostat figured out. I'm a little concerned when I come in on these hot days because sometimes the temperature, if the air conditioner's turned off or they're trying to save money or someone went cheap or whatever the deal is, it gets hot in here. But lately it's been nice and cozy. I feel good. And I worked out, so naturally after a workout, and it was a good one today, I have an elevated body temperature for a few hours. So I feel really good right now. And let me give you out the telephone number because I want to have a conversation with you guys today. I mean, that's really the essence of talk radio, isn't it? You and me, we get a chance to talk, and there's a lot smarter people out there listening than I am, and so sometimes I need your input on different items. But what I want to do is I really want to focus in on this Micah Nori deal and the contract. According to Jason Quick, he agreed to terms. It's a 1-year deal. And then the second and third year of the contract are team options. And this is something that we have not seen before in the NBA where a new head coach comes on board and signs a 1-year deal. We don't know the terms of it in regard to money, but it is different to have a coach do that. Now, there has been a lot of controversy, and most of the focus since we got the news of Nori becoming the Trailblazers head coach has all been about the contract and the length of the contract. But I've got to be honest with you, I'm excited about Micah Nori. He's like the Ted Lasso of the NBA. That's what people have dubbed him as. And I think the press conference tomorrow, which is scheduled for 11 o'clock out at the practice facility, is going to be fabulous because this guy knows how to talk. He's funny, great personality, and here's just a sampling of Micah Nori behind the mic.
Nothing, fast break points, boom goes the dynamite, there goes our lead. We got to treat Bane like you do the elf on a shelf on Christmas morning. You got to find him. He makes everybody comfortable. He's like popcorn during Saturday night movies. Our paint defense was like 7-Eleven, open 24 hours. Realized they had hits on like Donkey Kong the way they started out. First time all year that we were kind of on almost like a hot mess express.
I love it. That's Micah Nori. That's a sample of what you're going to get tomorrow when he's introduced as head coach by your Portland Trailblazers. Now, we did get some comments, and I want to share those of J.B. Bickerstaff here in a moment. But first off, Chris Finch had a chance to talk. Of course, Finch and Nori became close during their time together in Denver working under head coach Michael Malone. That's where they formed a connection. When Finch got the job in Minnesota, Nori joined him as his lead assistant. So those two know each other very well. And obviously, as a head coach, anytime you have an assistant that goes on to get a better opportunity, a better job, those guys are really excited about that. So let's take a listen to Finch when asked about Nori getting the deal and getting things all set up in Portland. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, well, first thing I would like to say about that is I thought it was a shame that a lot of the story about Micah's great opportunity was overshadowed by the nature of the deal that he signed. That's it. That's a personal decision. That's a business decision. That's between him, the team, and the agent. It's always funny how these things get out. So I don't know the veracity of it. I really don't. The exact details of it. I haven't even had, the guts to ask or inquire. So I just know this. There's 30 of these jobs. They're hard to get, and they're incredibly rewarding in a lot of different ways. And, I know he wasn't focused on, certainly money, but he was first focused on opportunity. That's what we preach to all of our guys here. You should chase opportunity, not money. And then I also know that you got to bet on yourself in this world. And especially when you're an outsider, we consider ourselves a little bit outsiders. We weren't raised in the game. We didn't play at North Carolina or Duke. And so sometimes your path is just different. And you got to take chances along the way. And I'm super excited for him.
I love Chris Finch. That's one heck of a coach. And obviously his comments, it's very simple. It's like, hey, that was a business decision by Coach Nori and his agent and the team. He chose to sign it. And sometimes you got to bet on yourself. But also reminded everyone that, hey, there's 30 NBA head coaching jobs. So when you get one, it means a lot. And you've got an opportunity that is special, and it's your opportunity to go out and make things happen. So, like the approach by Finch, obviously Micah Nori made the decision, along with his agent, to sign the deal. And now he's got a chance to go out there and prove himself here in Portland as head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. Now, I was waiting for these comments to come. From the people I had talked to about the deal with Nori, or the reports before the Blazers got their coach about, what Tom Dundon wanted to pay for a coach. We had seen those reports out there. I was just wondering how the Coaches Association would respond. Would they try to step in and guide Nori through the process? Would they ask him not to sign a deal if it was under, typical market value? I was wondering if they would, get involved. Well, J.B. Bickerstaff, who is the National Basketball Coaches Association president, he called the unconventional structure of the Trailblazers' contract with Coach Nori a, quote, slap in the face to our value. And according to Tim McMahon, an opinion echoed by several coaches throughout the league. McMahon continued saying, according to league sources, Nori's contract with the Trailblazers includes only one guaranteed year, with team options on the second and third year on the deal. The deal has a below-market base salary and includes incentives based on the team's success, sources told ESPN. Now, keep in mind, it was Jason Quick of The Athletic who first reported the structure of the contract being a one-year deal with team options in year 2 and year 3. McMahon continues, Nori, who is 52, is the first-time head coach who spent the past 5 seasons as the Minnesota Timberwolves lead assistant and is well-liked and highly regarded throughout the league. He interviewed for several head coaching openings in recent years before being offered the job by the new Portland governor, Tom Dundon, and general manager Joe Cronin, who conducted a search that included dozens of candidates and began informally during the regular season while interim coach Tigard Splitter was in the midst of leading the Trailblazers to the playoffs. Bickerstaff, the Detroit Pistons coach, emphasized that he is excited for Nori to get a head coaching opportunity, but concerned about the precedent his contract could set. Quote, I understand his story and his journey to get to the spot where he was able to get this opportunity. And I don't want to take away from what should be a special moment for him, for his family, and a job that's well-deserved and earned. That's first and foremost. But I feel like he was put in a situation that he shouldn't have been put in with having to make a choice of this nature because of the structure of what the contract is. It's unfortunate that you have a dream. And from our perspective, it's like someone taking advantage of your dream and devaluing what we feel like coaches have earned over the years. You think about the sacrifice, the time, the growth that coaches have helped and done with the NBA. And then for someone to come in and attempt to devalue the work that coaches have in this league is extremely disappointing. McMahon continued. Several other current head coaches expressed similar concerns to ESPN, but declined to discuss the situation on the record. Indiana Pacers coach Rick Carlisle, whose lengthy tenure as the Coaches Association president ended when he was replaced by Bickerstaff before last season, praised Nori but opted not to weigh in on the controversial contract. Quote, Micah is very highly thought of by his fellow coaches. He is a great hire with a great opportunity ahead of him. McMahon continued. The Trailblazers via team spokesperson declined to comment. Nori's agent, Brett Just, who also represents Bickerstaff and several other NBA coaches, also declined to comment. Dundon's unique cost-cutting measures, as McMahon continues, including not traveling two-way players during the playoffs and opting not to pay late checkout fees for most staffers on game days, have drawn scrutiny and criticism on multiple occasions since he took control of the Trailblazers on March 30th, when the NBA Board of Governors approved the $4.25 billion sale of the franchise to a group of investors led by the Dallas-based billionaire. Dundon, who was also criticized for discussing the Blazers' head coaching job with several candidates during the season, while Splitter, who took over on an interim basis after Chauncey Billups was arrested on federal charges related to a gambling ring following the season opener, guided the Blazers to a 42-40 record and playoff appearance. Sources said that Dundon discussed the job with mid-major college coaches who were making higher salaries than he mentioned in the conversations. Splitter was a finalist for the job before being hired as the Bulls head coach. Boston Celtics assistant Tyler Lashbrook was also a finalist. A source with knowledge of discussions told ESPN that Blazers management was negotiating a potential contract with multiple candidates simultaneously as a method of maximizing leverage. And finally, McMahon says, as owner of the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes, Dundon negotiated a similar deal with coach Rod Brindamore in 2018. The Hurricanes have a 378, 182, and 56 record in 8 regular seasons under Brindamore, advancing to the playoffs each year and winning this season's Stanley Cup. It's rare for an NBA coach to reach the final year of his contract without an extension, much less be coaching on a year-to-year deal due to the challenges such uncertainty creates in maintaining authority with players and building a coaching staff. Quote, it changes the math on where a coach stands, and it creates an environment where how do you hold players accountable when it looks like you are easily replaced and removed if things don't go the way the players may see it going, Bickerstaff said. It's almost, which is disappointing, a mindset of the substitute teacher being there with no guarantee or support regarding what it looks like long-term or in the future. I've talked to a lot of coaches, head coaches, assistant coaches who are extremely concerned. It's a very serious matter to us as coaches to make sure that we protect the value of coaching staffs. It's years and years of work that coaches have put in to put ourselves in this position and to put future coaches in the position where our value remains and isn't disregarded because of a power flex of ownership. So there you have it. That's the report by Tim McMahon. So my question for you, and I really want your input on this, you can get a chance to sound off. What do you think about the deal? I mean, obviously, Micah Nori decided to sign it. He didn't have to. He could have, declined and someone else swoop in and get the job. I mean, clearly, if you're looking at Tom Dundon, what's amazing about all of this, and this is mind-boggling to me, so when he started talking to coaches, and we saw reports that he was looking to pay someone, some of the reports said $1.5 to $2 million a year. There were a lot of people scoffing at that idea, saying he's never going to be able to find a coach. Not only did he find a coach, but Dundon was able to hire the best assistant available in Micah Nori and pay him what he wanted to pay him and get a team-friendly deal in the process on a year-by-year basis. He did it. It's unbelievable that he got that done. So it's very Tom Dundon friendly. It's very team friendly because as an assistant coach, and here's the problem with assistants, you just don't know until you know. You don't know how they're going to be. You don't know how they're going to react, if they're going to be a good head coach. Some assistants turn out to become great head coaches. Some don't. And for Dundon, they can do this upcoming season. If Nori turns out not to be the guy or doesn't perform well, he can move on and find another coach and not be on the hook for 2 or 3 more years of a contract. That's pretty amazing. Now, of course, if Nori coaches his tail off and is as good as many people think he's going to be, the Blazers can easily come back and say, hey, let's negotiate a more conventional deal. We know you're the man. You can get the job done. Let's lock you in. I highly doubt that if Nori turns out to be a great coach, that the Blazers are just going to go year by year up until the end of the 3rd year where Nori could sign elsewhere. But the great thing for Nori is that regardless of contract, he's got an opportunity to come in and prove himself. And if he does a great job, he's going to open up opportunity either in Portland or somewhere else by getting a chance to prove that he can be a legitimate head coach in the NBA. I just don't have a big issue with it. Like, I'm not greatly concerned. I'm not freaking out. Tom Dundon's number one priority is to do what he believes is best for the team. Period. And we also know that he drives a hard bargain, as I've been told by many. And in this case, he was able to hire a coach at the price that he wanted to, which is pretty remarkable. So what I want to know from you is, what's your read on this? You concerned? I'm obviously pumped to have Micah Nori in place as head coach because I think he's got a chance to become a really good one. I mean, the more people you hear talk about Micah Nori, they all praise him. And he is unique. He's very unique. And he's funny.
Nothing, fast break points, boom goes the dynamite, there goes our lead. We got to treat Bane like you do the elf on the shelf on Christmas morning. You got to find him. He makes everybody comfortable. He's like popcorn during Saturday night movies. Our paint defense was like 7-Eleven, open 24 hours. Realized they had it.
0620. That's pretty impressive. That's Micah Nori. So 503-248-0620 is your That's pretty impressive. That's Micah Nori. So 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You can chime in and let me know what you think about the deal, what you think about Dundon being able to get the top assistant available at the price he wanted. What do you think the biggest challenges are? Is it going to be the uncertainty year to year for Nori? Is it the fact that it might be more difficult without being locked in for an extended period of time on a multi-year deal, that finding guys who want to come and be a part of your staff, is that going to be a challenge? Because assistant coaches are looking for some security if they're going to have to move their family across country. So I'll take your thoughts, but he'll be introduced tomorrow at a press conference at the practice facility at 11 o'clock, and we'll hear from him for the first time. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again, learn to live so free. This is the Muzak version of Broken Wings.
Yeah, the John Tesh version.
The John Tesh version. There's a live video floating around on YouTube where Mr. got back together. And I'm a big Dick Page fan, Richard Page, the lead singer. And they do this song in his crib with the original band members. It's pretty nice. I need you so, whoa. Hopefully that's the last time I sing today. These broken wings. Is this John Tesh? Seriously?
Yes.
I love John Tesh, too. I love his wife as well. I basically love everyone right now. So jump on board, 503-248-0620. What do you think about the deal that Dundon got done with Micah Nori? Does it concern you? I made the comment last night that Tom Dundon could locate D.B. Cooper and the other half of the missing ransom, and people would find a way to criticize him for it. The reaction to the Nori deal has been wild. I understand why the Coaches Association doesn't like the deal. I get it. Because coaches, it's kind of like players. They don't want you taking deals that are below normal market value because it encourages owners to try and get away with it elsewhere. And so I understand where the Coaches Association is coming from. It's like, no, don't do that. But for Micah Nori, and like Chris Finch said, sometimes you guys say F it and just bet on yourself. All right, we'll keep things rolling. It's a Wednesday afternoon. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine and the warmth. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. A little Sade. Her greatest hits album is one of the best. And she's one of those artists that I wish I could have seen perform live. But one of the smoothest albums you're ever going to listen to. The Sade Greatest Hits. And this right here, a good one. Sweetest Taboo. Telephone number here on the Rip City Drive is 503-2 Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And the host was a really cool guy. He wanted to talk college football in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And the host was a really cool guy. He wanted to talk college football, get my thoughts on the Oregon Ducks. He said that the fan base in the usual stages of grief, they're still in stage one after getting cold-cocked by Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Alabama fans can't believe it. They don't understand it. They just can't come up with a reason as to why their team got smashed by Kurt Signetti and Indiana. But he said that they talk literally college football, Alabama football, recruiting, the whole shebang, 365 days a year. But you can hear in his voice the respect that Alabama fans have for the Big Ten, the University of Oregon, and some of the competition now with more of a level playing field with teams in different conferences outside of the SEC having access to big-time talent. And the big issue he talked about at Alabama, just like some of these other big schools, not as much depth up front on the offensive line because guys who are good and recruited, they've got a chance to go elsewhere, make money, and play right away. You know, before the big schools would just, get all these 4 and 5 stars on scholarship and make them wait their turn to be able to play. And, of course, that's why they had a big advantage before NIL took over because they had 4 and 5 stars, second and third string who could step in and play when injuries mount throughout the course of the season. And now a lot of that has changed. But a lot of respect they have there for Oregon. And, of course, the Ducks this year, once again, going to be in a position to challenge for a national championship. They got talent at quarterback. They got speed and talent on the outside at the skill positions. They should be strong in the secondary. And their defensive front is going to be super legit. It's pretty impressive what Oregon has done under Dan Lanning in terms of the type of athlete they're bringing in, the way they've been able to bolster and beef up on the offensive and defensive lines. And I'll tell you what, you keep knocking at the door and you keep, putting yourself in a position, eventually you're going to get over the hump. Unfortunately for Oregon, I think 6 of their last 7 losses, what were they, against teams that either won the championship or played for a national championship. It's pretty impressive. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Just really kind of blown away by the reaction to the Micah Nori deal and the overall reporting on Tom Dundon, which I think has been mostly BS, some of it true, and some of it that he brought on himself with a couple of early missteps with, again, like I mentioned before, because I've asked people about this, what did he do that was so wrong? Well, apparently he violated the unwritten rules by communicating to coaches, calling other potential candidates for the head coaching job while Tiago Splitter was, still coaching because the season wasn't over. They got to the play-in and they moved on to the postseason and had a first-round series against San Antonio. So he violated the unwritten rules and then outside of that did not, send the two-way players to the playoffs right away. And he admitted that was a misstep because he didn't understand the way the NBA works. So those are the 2 biggest things that I've been able to uncover violation-wise. But this contract, what's interesting about it to me is that, all the talk and the reporting about how Tom had a number that he wanted to pay a coach, and he goes in and does what no one thought he could get done, finds the top-rated assistant available in Micah Nori and pays him on a 1-year deal with team options in year 2 and year 3. That's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing he's able to pull it off. And, for Tom Dundon, I'll give him credit. He's got a system. He's had great success, and he knows how he wants to go about, handling his business. And what's great about people like him, a lot of times as a decision maker, you've got to be willing to make decisions and do things and not worry about how everyone else is going to respond to it. He clearly has got the cojones to be able to do that, and I respect that. While most of us, like myself, worry about what everyone else thinks, there are people like Tom Dundon that are busy making things happen and don't concern themselves too much with what everyone thinks in terms of the decisions that they make. And so I respect that approach. Now, with the Trailblazers, with Micah and Nori, I'm not too alarmed by the contract. Nori chose to sign it. He didn't have to, but he saw it as an opportunity. The Blazers are going to bring him in, and if he coaches well and does a heck of a job, he'll get a new deal. But for the Blazers, they basically get a one-year prove it where it's like, hey, we think you're going to be a good coach, but go out and prove it. And so Micah Nori will have a chance to do that. But I know the Blazers are pretty happy with the candidate they landed on in Micah Nori. They pursued him. He was one of the finalists. I think that he was probably their number one guy, and they got him. And I'm happy for Tiago Splitter, who I respect a great deal. Handed the grenade after Chauncey Billups got taken away by the FBI after game number 1 and guided the team to the postseason. He had to learn on the job. That's not easy. He wasn't expecting that, but he did a good job and got better as the season went along. Now, is he perfect? No. He's got a lot to learn, as I'm sure Micah Nori does. Now, if you want to talk about the good things that Nori brings to the team, from what I can gather, number one, everyone that's worked with him respects him. So his coworkers have great respect for him. He's a well-liked guy around the league, and players seem to really appreciate him. So he's done a good job. And all of his stops have been for multiple years. So that tells you that he must be doing something right because he hasn't been run out of town after getting signed to a staff. So when he latches on and starts coaching, he's around for multiple years. That's a good sign. Now, what Dwight told me yesterday is that what really is nice about Nori is the fact that he's worked for many different coaches who each run their own system, offense, defense. And what Dwight said is that when you have a coach that's been exposed to many different head coaches who have a different way about doing things, you're able to study and learn, and you collect a lot of information. And with that information, you're able to utilize many different parts of what you picked up along the way from those head coaches, meaning instead of having a system that you've learned under that you just apply no matter what the situation is, a guy like Micah Nori can come in and he can adjust to what he has on the roster and put those players in the best position to succeed. So that part's exciting. So looking at your team, looking at your roster, seeing what your strengths are, understanding your weaknesses, and then learning to mitigate those weaknesses by putting those players in a position to succeed because you have a wealth of knowledge and you've got many different things you can go to based on all the different things you've learned from the variety of head coaches you've worked for. So I think that's a great strength. So I think there are a lot of people around the NBA who think that Micah Nori is going to become a terrific head coach. And for him, I think part of the reason why he jumped on it is he had been through several coaching cycles but had not landed a head job yet. So you get to a certain age, he's 52, you probably start to wonder, like, okay, if I don't get a job now, am I going to have another opportunity? And the reality of the situation for Tom Dundon, when Dallas selected Dusty May to be their head coach, the only opening was Portland. And that transferred the negotiating power into Tom Dundon's hands, and therefore he was able to dictate terms more so than if there were multiple bidders, multiple teams bidding for Micah Nori or whichever candidate they were after. So that helps the Blazers, that helped Tom Dundon, and you end up getting a guy on a deal that's good. And Micah Nori able to come in and get the job done. What I love is how Chris Finch, really summarized that in terms of, what the situation is, what you can expect, and that you got to bet on yourself.
Yeah, well, first thing I would like to say about that is I thought it was a shame that a lot of the story about Micah's great opportunity was overshadowed by the nature of the deal that he signed. That's it. That's a personal decision. That's a business decision. That's between him, the team, and the agent. It's always funny how these things get out. So I don't know the veracity of it. I really don't. The exact details of it. I haven't even had the guts to ask or inquire. So I just know this: there's 30 of these jobs. They're hard to get, and they're incredibly rewarding in a lot of different ways. And I know he wasn't focused on, certainly money, but he was first focused on opportunity. That's what we preach to all of our guys here: you should chase opportunity, not money. And then I also know that you got to bet on yourself in this world, and especially when you're an outsider. We consider ourselves a little bit outsiders. We weren't raised in the game. We didn't play at North Carolina or Duke, and so sometimes your path is just different. and you got to take chances along the way. And I'm super excited for him.
Hard not to like Chris Finch. That guy's pretty awesome. So there you have it. That's where we're at. So if you got thoughts on the deal or Tom Dundon or the way things have progressed, let me know. The other thing that Dwight said is that he's pretty confident that the city council is going to come to an agreement at some point, and the Blazers will get the agreement done to where they can get the funding for the Moda Center facelift or renovations that need to be done. And as I mentioned, I truly believe this, that right now is a good time to be a Blazer fan. Roster's in good shape. Joe Cronin has restocked the cupboard. They've got assets to work with. They have located their head coach, and now we're on the verge of entering into the new league year where the Blazers can get things done with trades and free agency. And it's nice that they've got the full mid-level at $15.1 million to be able to work with. So they got assets. They got tools. They can improve this team. The question is, are they going to go after a big name, or are they going to focus on internal development and continuing to bring the young core along and augment that a bit in free agency? You know, we'll see what the plan is, but I'm pretty excited about where they're at. And like I mentioned before, much better to have a guy in charge at the top, making decisions, providing direction for the franchise instead of the team being stuck in that, cycle of being run by the trust. Because when you're being run by a trust, the focus is not on the future. It's on the here and now because you're preparing things for the sell. But now the Blazers have got leadership. They have someone focused on, 5 to 10 years down the road, and that's a good place to be. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Rip City Drive, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Micah Nori will be introduced tomorrow by the Trailblazers with a press conference at 11 o'clock. commercial break to my good friend Daniel from Gresham during the commercial break. My good friend Daniel from Gresham during the commercial break. And he's got one of his best friends who basically is like family, who lives down in Phoenix, Arizona. And this guy is dying because he's got kidney failure. And Daniel got tested and is a match, has been approved for the transplant. So he's going to give a kidney to his buddy so he can have life. And I just let him know, like, dude, that's awesome. I'm proud of you. I think it's terrific. And I'm so happy that you have a chance to be there for your buddy in the biggest time of need. And he's like, well, I don't even really feel like I'm doing anything. I'm like, well, there is someone that's going to go inside of you and take a piece of you and give it to somebody else. That's a big deal. So anyways, if anyone out there listening has given a kidney or something to somebody else in a transplant, let me know. My brother, before he passed, he gave one of his kidneys to a young boy. And he was a match, but unfortunately, it ended up not taking and not working out. But my brother did. He gave a kidney to a young boy, which I thought was pretty awesome. But if you've been through a transplant, let me know. What's it like? And I can pass that information along to Daniel. But I'm proud of him for what he's doing because I know how much his buddy means to him. But it's a blessing that he's a match and can help out. Telephone number to jump on board here at the Rip City Drive is 503-248-0620. Let's go out to Staten. Aaron in Staten is up on the Rip City Drive. Aaron, I appreciate the call. What is on your mind?
Hey, listen, I just heard what you said. You know, my heart goes out to your friend Daniel. Hey, I think that's great that there's an opportunity to pass along a kidney and give somebody life. You kind of threw me a curveball there. I mean, I think that's great. If you can help. You know, I'm a big proponent of organ donation. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. I think it's terrific. And I've got that listed on my license where I'm an organ donor because if I die and I can help somebody else out have life, I'm all for it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. My license as well. I mean, if I'm gone, help somebody else. The reason I called, you know, I don't know how I feel about this contract with the coach. I mean, it seems to me like it's what Tom Dundon does, you know, prove yourself. I'm only going to give you this, but are we just kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel in a way? I mean, I think he's a well-respected coach. He might have had other opportunities, and I don't know. I mean, you seem to be okay with it. I'm not so okay with it. I feel like we kind of struck out and we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's my take. What do you think?
Well, I appreciate that phone call, Aaron. Thank you. And thank you for your comments on my buddy Daniel. I don't think the Blazers struck out and are scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think they got the guy they wanted, the top assistant available in Micah Nori. I think they literally got the guy that they really wanted and they think is going to fit the culture and the team here in Portland. And Tom Dundon had the negotiating power and therefore was able to create a contract that was beneficial to him. So I don't think they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. I just think that right now the perception of Tom Dundon that's out there is that he's cheap and doesn't want to spend money. Now, as he said before, when it comes to the players, you know, there's no budget for the players, but he clearly, and again, this could be just an ownership thing where, you know, different owners value different things. Maybe Tom Dundon doesn't value high-priced coaches as much as other owners would. That's a possibility. So, but he got the guy he wanted, and he had the negotiating power and got a deal that is beneficial to him. And so I don't have a problem with Tom Dundon trying to go about business the way he does if he's able to get things done. And what I believe about Tom Dundon is that if he has a way of doing things, if it ends up not working out, he'll self-correct. Because smart guys like that who have put themselves in the position he's in, if the way they're doing things are counterproductive or it's preventing him from being able to get the job done, they'll self-correct and make the adjustments. That's all. Also, my good friend Scotty Bethune has chimed in, and I like it when you get messages like this. But Scotty said, hey, pass Daniel my number if he has any questions. And Scotty's philosophy is very simple. If you've got two, which we do, I think we have not one but two kidneys, you got to give one. And Scotty went through the process. So I'm going to link Scotty and Daniel up so that if Daniel has any questions on what to anticipate or what to expect or what life is like after you give away a kidney, he can do that. Let's go out to Shane in Portland. Shane, my friend, what's up, brother? Fire away.
Chadwick, I got a question for you today.
Yes.
All right. Now that Milwaukee made their big move and a couple other moves have happened, would you consider, and I know this has some spider sense tingling going on when I say it, but from the Jailblazer days, but would you make a deal with Memphis for Morant?
I like Ja Morant. I would not make a deal for him just because I don't trust him, and I'm afraid it would be too much of a headache. But I would certainly consider it because his game and his ability is off the charts. So it would be a tempting situation, but he's been nothing but a constant headache. Now, the thing is with him, he's young, right? So there is a possibility that with time and through some of the experiences he's had, maybe he'll mature. Some guys take a little bit longer to mature and understand what it means to be a pro. That could be the case with him. But the problem is they already have a logjam at guard. So if you bring in Morant, you're pretty much saying that Scoot is not the guy moving into the future and you want to go with Morant. What's your take on Morant? How do you view him?
I think that if you put the math together, if Grant and Holiday went along with Scoot and Shaden, the math works out to make a stab at picking up our favorite power forward from Boston. You could get Morant and you could go for Brown.
Well, that's my dream. I mean, don't you think that, especially with 3 years of team control, like if there's a big name out there, I saw Brad Stevens' comments today that Jaylen Brown is still a big part of their future. I don't believe that at all. They were looking to deal him. There's been issues between him and the team. I think right now is a good time to go after Jaylen Brown, and I think he, with his abilities, being a two-way player, would fit perfectly here in Portland. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that gives them the ultimate flexibility. I mean, like, if I could pick one player in Blazer history to have back again with this crew, it would have been LaMarcus Aldridge. You want a stretch four. You want somebody who can give you spacing. You want a guy that's reliable, that literally can take over the game when he needs to. And Brown is that type of dude. He's even better than that. So, and the other side of it is, and the reason I think about Morant is, you could get him cheap. He's damaged good. And if you can rehabilitate him here, and even if he doesn't work out, he's still got value. But, it just feels like you either push your chips in or you don't.
Yeah, that's true. I appreciate the phone call, Shane. Thank you so much. 503-248-0620. All right, we'll come back and keep things rolling. Jump on board. I want to hear your voice. 503-248-0620. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Well, good afternoon. It's now 4 o'clock. Chad here. The Portland Trailblazers will introduce their new head coach, Micah Nori, at a press conference tomorrow. It's scheduled for 11. It's going to be held over at the practice facility. Elsewhere, Austin Reeves plans to sign a $185 million max extension with the Lakers. And Brad Stevens says Jaylen Brown remains, quote, a big part of us after his name had been circled in trade talks with the Bucks in their pursuit of Giannis. From the NFL, 49ers wideout Brandon Ayuk says he will sign with the Commanders if he's cut by the Niners. He's hoping to reunite with his college teammate Jaden Daniels. And the Mariners have a 2.5-game lead over the A's in the AL West. They're in Pittsburgh today. First pitch at 3:40, which was 20 minutes ago. And Brian Wu on the bump for Seattle. Got more of the Rip City Drive coming at you right now. I already know the rules. If Phil Collins is going to play, I feel like out of respect to him, I can't talk over him right away. This is a great song, No Son of Mine. All right, telephone number is 503-248-0620. I just want your input on Tom Dundon and what you think about the contract given to Micah Nori. I don't have a big problem with it. Nori was willing to sign it. Tom Dundon had the negotiating leverage, and he utilized that to his benefit. And his job is to look out for the best interest of his team and the franchise, which he did. I'm excited about Nori. I think he's got a chance to be a really good head coach. But most importantly, I'm looking for you. How do you read the situation? What's your take, and what do you think? I want your thoughts. Let's go out to Mary in Southeast. Mary, I appreciate the phone call. What's up? What's on your mind?
Hi, Chad. Thank you. I am excited that we've got a head coach now that somebody got hired on. It's still, early in the summer, and I am with you on this Tom Dundon thing. Like, I'm going to tell you, I've been doing the Lyft and Uber driving for 10 years now. And way back, the guy from the Uber, he really was desocialized because of this video that went viral, and he wasn't very, very well liked. And if he hadn't blazed through a bunch of red tape to begin with to start Uber, I wouldn't have been doing what I've been doing for the last 10 years. So I kind of appreciate the business mind and the savviness and shrewdness, if you will, for business transactions. And like you said, he's doing what he thinks is best for the team, and so more power to him. And I don't know too much about this guy, Micah, but I'm going to listen and learn and trust that I heard a little clip of his humor, and, I think we need that. We've got young guys that are going to be easily influenced, if you will, to a certain degree, and I just think it's great, to have a strong leader and a good sense of humor. That's awesome. So there you go. I think that Giannis, I'm glad that he went to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not a fan of him coming here. I just didn't think that was going to work. That was tried once and same, and I just didn't like that. But the idea of Jaylen Brown, that has my hopes up.
Yeah, there's no question.
That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, Jaylen Brown would be great. 3 years of team control because of the contract. I'd be all about it. And I think Mary's got the right approach. There'll be plenty of time, a year from now, 6 months from now, 18 months from now to be able to have a better feel for what Tom Dunnan's all about. But he's new on the job. And so I'm not going to sit here and, drop hot takes. I'm going to give him time to settle in and really leave his mark on the franchise. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Now, I had mentioned this. This guy here is a really good friend. And he and I have been talking over the last, few months. And he told me about the situation with his friend down in Phoenix and how he was having kidney issues and was near death. He got tested. It turns out that he was a match, and now he's going to be able to donate a kidney. And he has called into the program. I'm talking about my good buddy Daniel from Gresham. Hey, Daniel, I appreciate you taking time to call in. I had mentioned your situation after I talked to you during the commercial break on the show, and people had some warm response. So why don't you walk us through the process? The friend that you're donating a kidney to, like, this is almost like family, right? This is someone you've been close to for a long period of time?
Yeah, Chad. So thank you. Want to just thank you real quick for having me on and letting me share my story, even though I am a little nervous about everything.
That's okay.
It's always great to talk to you. You're a great friend. I've known you since, I'm 37 now. I've known you since I was 18.
Wow.
So we've gone through a lot. You know a lot about my personal life story, but yeah. So I have a best friend. I've known him since, I want to say 2003, freshman year. I met him, and we've become really good friends since then. He's like a brother to me. Like, we've spent a lot of time together. And last October, he's had kidney issues for like the last 10 years. But last October, he got infected with, I think it was called valley fever. And after that, they told him that his kidneys completely failed and that he would need a kidney transplant. So going from there, he had a couple people try to donate, and then those couple people didn't work out. So back in March, I went and visited him since my divorce after I moved back from Phoenix. I went and visited him, and he was telling me about the situation because he was kind of hush-hush, didn't want to say much about it, but he was telling me about, like, the first two donors failed, and, man, I don't know, God put it on my heart, especially experiencing it in my personal life with my mom, because my mom had kidney failure at the age of 27. So experiencing it in it with my personal life, it was like on my heart that I had to offer it to him. I told him if I was healthy enough to do it, then he could have one of my kidneys. So after that happened, I ended up getting on the donor list, and my personal, with my personal struggle with drugs and alcohol in the past, I didn't know how healthy I was. So back in May, I went to Phoenix at the end of May. I believe it was May 29th. I was there for about 10 hours straight in the hospital doing tests after test after test. And they came back and said I was a really good candidate. My kidney function was above average. My heart was good. My liver was good. And so after we got those tests back, we ended up doing the tissue test. And just maybe about a week ago, we found out that I was a match, and I was able to directly donate to him. So it's been an absolute blessing. I can only thank the Lord up above for all of this. And he is one of my good friends. He is actually, I don't know, I think he's listening right now live from Phoenix or wherever he is on vacation right now. So,
well, what's his name?
Got to show him some love. His name is Johnny Rogoviano.
What's up, Johnny? That's awesome. What was his response when you got tested and it comes out that you're a match? What did he say to you?
Oh, man, it was a lot of excitement between me and him. Like, we didn't know, like, this process has been really long. Obviously, it's like a 3 to 4 month process, so there's a lot of prayers involved. There's a lot of doctor visits, multiple tests, not just the test that I went through in Phoenix in that one day, but there's tests with other things I had to do here in Portland, a bunch of he was elated. He has a beautiful wife with 3 beautiful kids, so they were obviously excited. And, man, it's an absolute blessing, Chad. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's an absolute blessing. And like I told you before, I experienced it as a kid. So my mom had kidney failure at 27, and I was, out of my siblings, I'm the oldest one. So when that was happening, I was 7 years old when it was happening, and I couldn't really comprehend what was going on. I just remember my mom always being sick and always being in the hospital and on dialysis. So once she finally got her kidney transplant for my grandpa at the time, I was elated as a kid. So I was able to, have my mom's still around. She even had my little brother, which I didn't have a little brother at the time. The doctors told her that she can have kids after her kidney transplant. So seeing it in my own personal life and seeing the blessing that it's brought to my family, it's an absolute blessing. And, being able to give my best friend, new life, there's no greater gift that could be given to this world.
That's pretty awesome. I'm so proud of you. Now, were there concerns for Johnny that accepting a kidney from someone that lives in Gresham might be a little riskier than other people?
Well, he's originally from Gresham.
Oh, he is.
Moved out to Scottsdale. Yeah, he's originally from Gresham, Oregon. He knows all about the Gresham.
Johnny from Gresham. Johnny from Gresham.
Yeah, he knows how much you love Gresham, Oregon, the greatest city in Oregon. But no, everything ended up being perfect. Like I said, there was a lot of prayers involved in this, not for me and his family, but.
Hey, didn't you go to the playing game? Didn't Johnny take you to the playing game? Was that him with Phoenix and Portland?
That was him. Yep, that was
awesome.
him in that picture with me. Yeah, so he's a very good guy. Like I said, he's a great human being. There's no better person I could give this to besides somebody in my immediate family. And I already told them we've been brothers for a long time, but now technically we're blood brothers because a little piece of part of me is going to live in him for the rest of his life. So
awesome.
It's an absolute blessing.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
I can't thank the Lord enough. And yeah, you wanted me to come on and share, even though I'm a little nervous and I don't like public speaking, but here we are.
That's okay. Real quick before you go, do you have a take on the Blazers' new under Tom Dundon, who just got his coach in Micah Nori? Any thoughts on Dundon so far?
I know there's a lot of hate around in the city of Portland that's saying he's a cheapskate and he's doing this and that. And it's like nobody's really giving him a chance. So it's a wait and see approach for me. I mean, he's done successful with his NHL team. So he's a business guy. So I'll trust the business guy over any of these clowns here in Portland, Oregon that are just hating on him. And people are worried more about what the millionaires spend their time on instead of just worrying about themselves. So I'm going to give him a chance. We'll see what he does. I mean, if he brought a NHL Cup to I think there was his team in Carolina, if he can bring a championship to Portland, that's exactly what we need, bud. So I'm going to give him a chance. I think so far he's doing what he needs to do, and he's a businessman. He's a multimillionaire. He's brought himself up out of nowhere. So I'll trust the multimillionaire before I trust any of these clowns from Portland.
All right. So do you have a date for the procedure yet?
There is no date. We are waiting for one more thing here to come back from his doctors, and we should have a date scheduled by hopefully the end of this week, next week, but we're shooting for end of July, early August.
All right. Daniel in Gresham donating a kidney to his buddy Johnny down in Phoenix, who's originally from Gresham. This is awesome, man. Hey, Johnny, if you're listening right now, my heart goes out to you, and I'm just thankful you found a donor. And Daniel, I'm proud of you, buddy. This is awesome, man. Thank you for sharing the story.
Oh, he wanted me to share something with you. He just texted me. He said, tell him they only allow kidneys from Gresham if the donor has more than 6 teeth.
Sounds good. All right, buddy. Thank you. Hey, I know you're working right now. Thank you for making time for the show, brother.
All right, bro. I love you, and I will talk to you soon.
You got it. I love you too, bro. There's Daniel in Gresham.
Bye.
And I think of an organ from Gresham if they have more than 6 teeth. And I think Daniel of an organ from Gresham if they have more than 6 teeth. And I think Daniel does. Well, I forgot to call him out for not getting Shacker soda like he said he would. He used to send Diet Coke in the studio for The Godfather. He promised he'd send Shacker soda, and he never did.
He's giving a body part away. He's done giving away gifts.
All right. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. 503-248-0620. All right, jump on board. I'm going to take your phone calls next. If you're on hold, stay there. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, one of my listeners, Scotty Bethune, so much more. So he reaches out and says, this is why I come to the show. Yes, it's a sports show, but it's so much more. I appreciate it. So he reaches out and says, this is why I come to the show. Yes, it's a sports show, but it's so much more. I appreciate you, Chode. So even in a compliment, he refers to me as Chode. It's like that one time I went in to pick up my 5-shot Americano at Starbucks, and they wrote Chode on the cup instead of Chad. They missed, you don't put the A in, you put an O in. It looks a little bit different. I'm sorry, that's an A. Can you change that, please? So I had Chode on my cup. So he writes, appreciate you, Chode. And then he screenshot the YouTube, and Michael Shacker's supposed to have a Be Right Back picture up during the commercial break. But if he forgets to do that, which he did, it's just me. And, of course, it's a workout day, so I'm basically like a complete moo face. I have my appetite's really high right now. So I'm shoving a bag of popcorners into my pie hole. And Scotty took a picture of it, sent it out, and said, when they don't put up the, quote, Be Right Back screen. So thank you, Scotty. I appreciate you catching me in my lowest moment.
No, you found ways to keep people entertained.
You're
an
entertaining.
entertainer.
And he's making fun of me. I can't help it, man. On workout days, I feel like right now I could eat a whole zebra.
There's a corner of YouTube of nothing of videos of people eating food. Competitive eating, just eating for fun. So you're just adding to that segment of YouTube.
I got stuck on a set of videos the other night of these estheticians popping zits and squeezing out blackheads. I was amazed. Like, I couldn't stop watching it. It was incredibly gross and yet amazing at the same time because I like seeing people with a problem and someone finding relief for them.
Was it clean, like a doctor's room, or was it just dirty where you're worried about the blades being
No,
filthy?
it was clean.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fascinated. So this lady, who's also one of my best friends, she's basically like a second mom, Julia. She ran her own, like beauty shop up at the old Tower Mall in Vancouver. I worked at the health club across the parking lot, the health experience. So I walked over, and she was having a conversation with a couple of my bosses, two of the owners. I think he was talking to Larry and Nelson Mello. And Julia is from Costa Rica, so she's got a beautiful accent, and she's just a wonderful lady altogether. But the first time I met her, I was younger. I think I was like 22 at the time. So I go up and I introduce myself, and the first thing she does is, like, when I reach out to shake her hand, she pulls me closer to her face, and she's got these eyes that are very piercing, and she's, like, examining my face, and she's like, oh, Chad, you have an acne problem. You need to come see me. So I went to go see her and got a facial. And then about a year after that, she closed down the shop, but I've been going to her house ever since. She's probably I'll never ask her exact age because I just feel like that'd be disrespectful to her. I mean, she's probably close to 80 now, but I've been going over to visit with her to get facials, and we're good friends now. I go and get lunch with her usually once a month, but she's awesome. But she told me, because I asked her, I said, well, how did you get into this job? And she told me that she goes, I love acne. Like, she loves to take a problem and be able to fix it. And she also does, I don't understand all the other things she does, but she can remove, like, what is it, the electrolysis, where she can remove hair. She's got the permanent makeup, for like eyebrows and stuff. She does everything. She's a remarkable lady. And she's got a really big fig tree in her backyard. Her house is beautiful. It sets up above the hill overlooking Vancouver Lake. But the fig tree, like, I'll be going over there here in the near future, and she lets me pick off as many figs as I want. And fresh figs off the vine are very good. Let's go out to the phones. Telephone number is 503-248-0620. A lot of people chiming in and sharing their thoughts on Tom Dundon. My buddy Larry, who was in Buffalo and now is back in town. I think what happened is he was here, then he moved back to Buffalo, and his girlfriend decided she wanted to come back to Portland. I don't think he wanted to come back based on my conversation with him, but he's back now. And he reached out to me, and he said, Tom Dundon should go to jail for building a winner. Portland is something else, LOL. Yeah, the guy that won the Stanley Cup who bought the crappiest team in hockey. Good thing about him, he doesn't care what hippies think. Thank God. Quote, keep Portland weird. Yeah, weird and losing. And I said, well, that's interesting. And he goes, it's nonsense. Blazers got lucky. I think he will win and piss off people in the process. Good. And there are people that take that stance too. I mean, there have been people here in town that have suggested that somehow his business acumen and the success in the NHL that there's no correlation between what he's done and how that's going to work in the NBA. I totally disagree with that. I just don't have a problem with Tom Dundon. He's doing things the way that he sees fit. And we'll have plenty of time as he makes bigger decisions to know what he's all about. And then we can start to make some judgments based on the work that he's done. But I'm not going to do it after a few months. I think that's crazy. Oh, let's go out to Pat in Portland. Pat, appreciate the call. You're up on the Rip City Drive. What's on your mind?
Hey, Chad, I guarantee you there's never a dull moment when we are listening to you on the air.
Well, I appreciate that.
I want to truly say that I think the owner has a unique way of getting the people's attention by doing things like he just did with his coaching hire. Part of it as a business owner in the past, I would say I can see where it could come back and bite the community. And if you give me a second, I'd just like to share it.
Yeah.
I think in a year from now, and we'll know more like what he does and how he does it. It's going to cost him a lot more money to have the Blazers than he's had with the hockey. But I think the thing is, just for a scenario, let's say he gave this new guy $2 million as a starting salary. I don't know what it was. I haven't heard it. But I'm just using it.
Yeah, they haven't reported the dollar amount, so we don't know dollar-wise what he's earning.
Right. But I'm just going to say $2 million. Then let's say a year from now let's say he wins 50 games. And so he's put a good winning product on the court, and he's won more than the previous coach has. And that coach got like $6 million a year. So if the Blazers don't step up a year from now and pay him really good money, he'll walk away and get a good job somewhere else if there's an opening. And I think that's what we have to worry about. If he really puts out a good product and shows the community that he's a good coach, and the ownership doesn't cough up more cash, he's going to walk, and then we're right back where we were. And that's what I don't want to see happen.
All right, that's a good phone call. Let me explain to you how this is going to work. So we know that the contract, Pat, is a one-year deal. This is being reported by Jason Quick of The Athletic. He reported the length of the contract. It's a one-year deal with year 2 and year 3 having team options, meaning after the upcoming season, if the Blazers like the job that he's done, they can simply pick up the option and he'll be the coach for another year. And then they could do that again for the third year. But here's how it's going to work. If he's doing a good job after year number 1 or sometime in year number 2, if the team is progressing and they like what they're seeing from Nori, they're not going to let his contract expire to where he could walk and go anywhere else. They will make him a more legitimate offer in terms of dollar amount and length if he proves himself. So my guess would be sometime in year number 2, if he's killing it and getting the job done as coach, they'll come back to him and negotiate a new deal and lock him in for the long term. If he's doing a great job with the team and they're having massive success, you don't want to pick up the option for year 2 and just pick up the option for year 3, and then he becomes a free agent after the contract's over. They won't do that. They'll renegotiate. They'll rip up the current deal and get him a new deal at a better price and for a longer period of time to add more security. I guess the protection here for Tom Dundon is that he's hiring an assistant who is not proven. Now, the majority of people who know Nori, who have experience around Nori and know about his acumen and what he's all about, they think he's going to be successful. And, I mean, he's been around the NBA for like 30 years. He's worked for many different head coaches. He's a great communicator, very competitive, and considered an expert when it comes to X's and O's. So, more than likely, he's going to be good. But if he's not, because sometimes the assistant who's supposed to be good turns out that he's just a great assistant coach and doesn't really have the makeup to be a head coach. So if that's the case, then Dundon can move on and not be on the hook for multiple years after the fact. But that's how it'll work, Pat. If he does a great job, they'll rip this one up and get him a new deal before that third year expires. And if he's sitting there in the middle of a one-year deal with team options in year 2 and year 3, and they come to him and offer him a multi-year deal, more than likely he's going to take that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're on a year-to-year deal and the team comes to you and says, hey, we want to lock you in for the next 4 years with this amount of money, you'll be guaranteed, he's not going to turn that down. That's how it works. And then for the team, if he turns out to be a bomb and it doesn't work out, then you can move on to him after the season, find another coach, but you're not going to be on the hook for, extra dollars. Because, that's one thing that's great about being a coach in the NBA or the NFL or college football. When you lock in, and a lot of these, college football coaches, for example, are on deals that are 6, 7, 8 years when they get these extensions. If they get fired, they get paid out. I mean, regardless of result, if they get fired, boom, they're rich. Like Jimbo Fisher down at Texas A&M, he had, about $100 million, $85 million left on his deal when they fired him. He gets to collect that cash. Crazy. Being a fired coach in sport is one of the best gigs you can get. You get paid out. You can sit around and do nothing, or you can find another coaching job. But you're going to get all that money. That's the type of gig we all need. 503-248-0620. So I would say the biggest challenge, at least from what I can see in year number 1, a little extra pressure on the coach to make sure you perform when you're on essentially a one-year deal. And as has been talked about by multiple guests on the show, when you're trying to put a staff together, these assistant coaches are looking to go to a situation where the coach is locked in for, more than just a year. Because, when you got to move your family across the country or to a different town, and you're doing it for a year, which essentially means like 9 months, but you don't know if it's going to last past that, there's a little bit of stress there that it puts on your family when you're moving them to different places. So just something to keep, in mind. 503-248-0620. But I think Micah Nori is someone that, people are going to gravitate towards. Very likable guy. The biggest challenge, it's not the X's and O's. I think he's going to be fine with the X's and O's. And he's well respected in that department. I think the real challenge comes from how does he connect with the players? The real job of an NBA head coach is connecting with the players, being able to get through to your players, have a good relationship with your star players, and then most importantly, establishing that level of respect so you can get the players on your team to do what you need them to do. Ego management. Can you get the players to do what you need them to do to win games? That's really what it comes down to. And the best coaches are good at that. Phil Jackson, who has 11 rings, 6 with Chicago, 5 with the Lakers. He was great at dealing with egos, dealing with ego management and the different star power he had to deal with in Scotty, Dennis, Michael, Shaq, Kobe. He knew how to manage and massage that situation. And then in return, he was able to get players to do what he needed them to do. I thought Tiago Splitter did a good job of that last year. So I think that's the number one thing with an NBA head coach. Can you communicate and connect with your players to the point where you can get them to do what you need them to do? And then the rest will take care of itself in terms of X's and O's, practice schedules, all the different things that coaches do. But most importantly, can you connect with your players? Can you communicate? Can you connect, which appears to be a strength of Nori's? And then can you get the guys to play hard? Because sometimes defense is hard. It's tough sometimes to get guys to buy in, but that's really what it comes down to. And the best coaches are really good at that. Mike Brown did a good job of that this year with the Knicks. Greg Popovich was really good at that. And he had a way of connecting with the stars and letting Tim Duncan know, hey, I'm going to have to light you up here, but just understand I'm doing it so I can connect with all the guys. And he would coach his stars hard. And as a result, he was able to connect with the rest of the guys on the roster. So that's going to be the biggest challenge for Nori. Not the X's and O's, but just connecting with guys and getting them in a position where they'll play hard and sacrifice for you. And usually when that happens, good things happen for the team when you have a certain level of buy-in and guys sacrificing. 503-248-0620. I've got the news on in the studio right now. I don't even know what they're talking about, but the question up on the screen. I got to change channels.
There's 2 World Cup games at the same time. Pick one. Enjoy it.
What channel are they on?
Fox
ESPN?
and FS1.
Oh, Fox and FS1. That's right. Fox has the broadcast rights to the TV for the World Cup. And the next game for Team USA will be on, is it July 1st?
There's a game tomorrow. They have to get through Turkey A, whatever you want to pronounce it.
But this is the last, but this is not knockout.
Yeah.
Knockout's July 1st.
That is correct. Knockout round for USA, July 1st.
Michael Shacker is handling a lot of different things for iHeart because we have the broadcast rights for radio for the World Cup. Are you going up to Seattle tomorrow?
Yes. It's going to be crazy. They got a game up there tomorrow.
You going to go to the stadium?
No. I'll be at iHeart Seattle Studios tomorrow.
Oh, those studios are nice. Every time I go up there, I'm jealous that they get those studios. So good. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Rip City Drive, I appreciate your time. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday. Right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right. All right, Shacker's poor eyesight. He grabbed the wrong version of the song. That was a shortened version and got surprised by it. All right, a very good neighborhood, the Bethany area of Beaverton. Let's go out and talk with Kent. In a very good neighborhood, the Bethany area of Beaverton. Let's go out and talk with Kent. Hey, Kent, appreciate the call. You're up on the RipCityDrive. What is on your mind?
Hey, Chad. Just listening to you today. Great show. Thinking about the Blazers, thinking about the coach hire. I think the 1 year is a good move on Dutton, and I think it's a great opportunity for the coach. And if he does great, and I'm sure everybody hopes he does, then it's a win-win for everybody.
I mean, that's kind of the way I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any losers. It's all gain for everybody. It's a good business decision. It's a great opportunity for him. It almost, I think about Dame and wondering, is he almost potentially player, coach, assistant, to the guards? And it seems like he could be a really valuable part of the chemistry, because if Dame locks in with this new coach, then the sky's the limit.
Well, you just nailed it, Kent, and that's really what it comes down to. And it's what I was talking about, a few minutes ago with one of the biggest challenges for any coach, including Micah Nori, who's going to get his first crack at being a head man here in Portland. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about connecting with your players. And I would say right now, the most important players for him to connect with on the roster, assuming all these guys are part of the team next year, Damian Lillard, number one. I mean, he's your franchise cornerstone. It's his locker room. He'll be the key leader, and you need to get Dame to buy in. And if he does, then the rest will fall in line. Now, the other players I think that would be critical, Drew Holiday, because Holiday is a veteran presence who's been around and done that and has championship experience, and then Denny Avdia. So you got your two long-term vets in Holiday and Dame, and then the best of the young core and your best player in Denny Avdia. If those three guys are bought in and are down with Micah Nori, then everybody else will fall in line. That's pretty much how that goes. That's what I'd fully expect, and that's pretty exciting. So there you have it. Connect with Dame. And I'm sure he will. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? And Dame is a guy who is very loyal, and if you show respect to him, he's going to play hard for him. But I think if he gets those three guys, Dame, Drew, and Denny, to buy in, and those three are all very team-oriented, then everyone else is going to play hard too. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited for Micah Nori. I like him. I think he's a funny guy, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun to work with. And he said a lot of funny stuff, but he's got a way with words.
Nothing, fast break points, boom goes the dynamite, there goes our lead. We got to treat Bane like you do the elf on a shelf on Christmas morning. You got to find him. He makes everybody comfortable. He's like popcorn during Saturday night movies. Our paint defense was like 7-Eleven, open 24 hours. Realized they had hits on like Donkey Kong the way they started out. First time all year that we were kind of on almost like a hot mess express.
Yeah, no question. Chris Finch, his coach in Minnesota, they connected originally in Denver. Chris Finch, very excited for Micah Nori's opportunity in Portland.
That kind of contract structure for first year.
Yeah, well, first thing I would like to say about that is I thought it was a shame that a lot of the story about Micah's great opportunity was overshadowed by the nature of the deal that he signed. That's it. That's a personal decision. That's a business decision. That's between him, the team, and the agent. It's always funny how these things get out. So I don't know the veracity of it. I really don't. The exact details of it. I haven't even had the guts to ask or inquire. So I just know this: there's 30 of these jobs. They're hard to get, and they're incredibly rewarding in a lot of different ways. And I know he wasn't focused on certainly money, but he was first focused on opportunity. That's what we preach to all of our guys here. You should chase opportunity, not money. And then I also know that you got to bet on yourself in this world, and especially when you're an outsider. We consider ourselves a little bit outsiders. We weren't raised in the game. We didn't play at North Carolina or Duke, and so sometimes your path is just different, and you got to take chances along the way. And I'm super excited for him.
Yeah, bingo. And that's really what it comes down to for Micah Nori, regardless of contract. And he knows that if he goes out there, takes advantage of the opportunity and coaches well, whether it's in Portland or somewhere else, he's going to create a pathway for himself, which is really cool. And if it doesn't work out, he can always latch on and be an assistant coach somewhere else. But now he gets his opportunity. And trust me, if he kicks ass and does a good job, the Blazers will rip up the contract and extend him. They're not going to let him coach out the third year and become a free agent if he's killing it. They just won't. They'll come to him midway through and say, let's get a deal done. And then all of a sudden, because he focused on opportunity, then he's going to be rewarded. And it's a good thing. And Mike Nori, well-respected around the league. Competitive, great with the X's and O's. I'm excited for him. And I would imagine he's geeked up and ready to get rolling. All right, we'll keep things rolling. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You can jump on board. I want to hear your voice. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine. Michael Shacker's here. I'm here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, it's now 5 o'clock. Chad here. What's going on, my friends? Hope you're enjoying your afternoon. Checking the Major League scoreboard. End of the third in Pittsburgh. The Mariners on top of the Pirates by a score of 1-0. And Seattle right now entering the day with a 2.5-game lead in the AL West on the A's. The Trailblazers are going to introduce their new head coach, Micah Nori, tomorrow at a press conference from the practice facility. It's scheduled for 11. Elsewhere, Austin Reeves is planning on signing an $185 million max extension with the Lakers. And Brad Stevens says Jaylen Brown remains, quote, a big part of us after his name had been circled in trade talks with the Bucks in their pursuit of Giannis. 49ers wideout Brandon Ayuk says he's going to sign with the Commanders if he's cut by the Niners. He's hoping to reunite with his college teammate Jaden Daniels. All right, more of the Rip City Drive with Chad Doing coming at you right now. Baby, come back. Any kind of fool could see there was something. All right, this is a great song. Baby, Come Back by Player. All right, I want to play something here. Speaking of Tom Dundon, he's been a big topic of conversation today. He was at the Moda Center renovation discussion talking about the funding at the Portland Metro Chamber meeting. So let's take a listen to what Tom Dundon had to say.
Okay, so Tom, I want to thank you, of course, and your team for hosting us. It's so appreciated. And most importantly, for investing in Portland, $4.25 billion, and for the entire ownership group that signed up. We appreciate that. Now, I'm not a seasoned reporter, but we have a few of them in the room here today, so promise me you'll go easy on me. And if there's anything you want to say to just welcome everybody to the room, please lead off.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And I didn't have $4 billion, so I have a group of partners that did it with me.
Wonderful. And just a note, there's something that you and I share in common. You're now, of course, a two-time team owner. I also own one non-transferable share in the Green Bay Packers, which is a 0.00003 percentage ownership group. So I just want to just let you know that off the
It's good to be with
bat.
you.
So I think one of the important things that we do is sort of get to know you. Obviously, that's an important part. We want to have a relationship with you. You're a business owner. This is the business community. You're also joined by incredible elected leaders here today. City, county, the House, the Senate, the governor. Many of them have done their part already to get this big project over the finish line, and many of them are in the process right now of doing it. So for us, this is really a chance to get to know you. So let's start off with some rapid-fire questions, if that's all right with you. So here we go. Are you ready? One word to describe winning the Stanley Cup.
Incredible.
I don't doubt. Tell me more. I don't even play hockey. I can't even skate. Okay, you were born in New York City and partially raised in Jersey. I spent a little sojourn in Brooklyn, so, you know, good on you. What was your clearest memory from your early life on the East Coast?
That's a good question. So, yeah, when I was really little, I lived in New Jersey, but we went up to Brooklyn where my family was, and so you'd go and they had...
What neighborhood?
Flatbush Avenue.
So 2-3 Bergen Stop on Flatbush Avenue is where I lived. So,
yeah, so
there you
I
go.
don't know much other than Flatbush Avenue, but I remember everything. There was nobody on the streets. Everything was shut down, like on Sundays, I guess, or whatever. So we'd play stickball or whatever on the streets. That's what I remember from that. And then the U.S. hockey team won the gold medal when I was like 9 years old when I lived in New Jersey. And so that's kind of my vivid memory of kind of growing up.
Miracle on Ice, Lake Placid.
Yeah, pretty good.
It was an incredible day. If you haven't been there, it's an incredible place to visit too. Okay, when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
That's a good question. I think like a pilot or something. I don't really remember. I didn't.
We're thinking like Tom Cruise, like Top Gun style, or
no,
okay,
I think
not
just
that.
like fly a plane because I'd never been on a plane, and I wanted to play sports, but I was no good. So, but yeah, I think if I could have chosen, it would have been like, like a shortstop or something for a professional team. But that wasn't in the cards.
One day we can all dream, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Portland's known for being a food city. Favorite food here, or favorite restaurant, or favorite food vibe that you're getting from the city?
So I like Italian food, and so every time we're Shield, what's that place? Nostrana.
No doubt.
Yeah, is that a good one here? Is that considered good here?
You will not argue any argument from me. There you go. You got some Nostrana fans. So, okay. How do you kick back? How do you relax? Do you relax?
Yeah, so it's not my favorite part of life. I'd rather be doing stuff. But and it sounds totally corny, but like, I love my wife. She's my best buddy. I got a bunch of kids.
How many kids?
So, 5.
Whew, I got 3, and I'm like, well, I'm drowning.
Yeah, yeah. I don't do the hard parts, but I do the fun parts. So yeah, that's kind of like what I like to do.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's move on. Let's get a little bit more serious. Let's dive into some questions. I think there's going to be genuine questions by business leaders, community leaders about this specific issue. So I'm going to read this one out for you. So let's address the sort of elephant in the room, and considering the size of the room, it's a pretty big elephant. You stated that the current deal outlined by the state, which was done here in the most recent short session, if it's executed, you'll keep the team here. And the local process is happening right now. It's playing out live in this moment by the city and the county. And one of the top criticisms of the deal is that you aren't personally contributing to the capital stack, which, that's the question out there. I find it a little misleading since you just put together the investor group. We talked about $4.25 billion for the team, and most of the dollars that our various public partners are committing to this are in some ways generated by the players' salaries here, by the ticket fees and the things and the activities that are happening here in the center. But nonetheless, can you address that question about why not contribute directly to the capital stack?
Sure. So look, I think given the age of the arena, the normal thing to do would be to build a new arena. And so when we looked at it, it felt like what other markets are doing and where they're getting tax money to do that was going to be something that would be difficult to achieve here. And so we thought the easier way to sort of solve the problem was take these dollars that are generated here. When you charge an incremental fee on a ticket, we're really just paying it. So we are investing in it, because if you didn't charge that money on the ticket, we would charge more for the ticket. Like, supply and demand works pretty well. And obviously there's lots of places that don't have taxes at the same rate. So if you charge people taxes and invest it back into the thing that helps generate the money, relative to the market, other places, it's a huge investment. So I think everybody can characterize things however they want. I don't see it the same way, but I'm not trying to get people to agree or disagree with me. I just know it feels like we're making a pretty big investment by staying here and paying these tax rates and agreeing to these fees for dollars that go back into the building. It's not that we're taking the money. So.
Totally. Yeah, in the sense, like what we're talking about here is, in the absence of the activity here, there are no funds to pay for the renovation. And so therefore, the private activity we're generating is truly, the contribution here is keeping this team here and paying for the capital stack through the activities generated here, which I think makes a ton of sense to most people. So thank you for answering that. So let's go on to the thing that I think everybody wants you to perfectly predict with absolute clarity. So you can't, there's no way to evade this question. Yeah. So you currently own 2 major sports franchises, the Hurricanes and the NHL, and now the Blazers, and you took the team all the way. Okay. In terms of the NHL team, So this is your first year owning the team. You've got a new head coach. So what is your long-term vision for the Blazers franchise, and when should we schedule our organic ticker tape parade?
Yeah. By the way, it turns out scheduling parades is a lot of work. Like, I had no idea. So in hockey, it took 8 years, and I thought we had chances prior to that. It seems like the position, when we get here, the team's in whatever position it's in, and it's in probably a better position than way better than when I took over the hockey team. They've got a bunch of assets. We have some good players. There's been 8 different winners in basketball the last 8 years, so it's not as if there's one way to do it. So I think today they're fairly competitive and probably one thing away from having expectations of having a good chance to plan parades. But what I don't think we'll have is sort of what they went through for a few years, where it sounds terrible, they're trying to lose a little bit, and I'm not doing that. So if we'll try to win.
All right, there's part of Tom Dundon's discussion at the Portland Metro Chamber meeting. We'll take a listen to more of that when we come back on the Rip City Drive, but just trying to give you some more insight into his thinking and the way he sees things. And like I mentioned before, I think Tom Dundon's a pretty sharp guy, a self-made man, and just won a Stanley Cup in the NHL. And this is why I keep going back to the idea that it's a great time to be a Trailblazer fan, because they have direction at the top with Dundon now. He's got his team in place. He just hired a head coach. Joe Cronin is entrenched as the general manager. And now they, with assets, can go out and start to make the moves necessary to improve the team. So I think it's a great time to be a Blazer fan. And, they're coming off a season where we saw improvement, especially with the young core. And this is a group that was, made the postseason. So, you would consider, or at least you would expect, the team to continue to take that upward trajectory. I mean, that would be my expectation. So it's pretty exciting. It's a good time. Good time to be a Trailblazer fan. Telephone number is 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. We'll come back and hear more from Tom Dundon and get more of his thoughts as he continues to press towards this arena deal. I've never been truly concerned about the team leaving town because I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. I don't think so. It's all about getting this deal in place. If the deal is put into place and the funding comes through, the team's going to remain for quite some time. So we'll hear more from Dundon when we come back. If you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620. We'll get to your phone calls as well when we come back here on the Rip City Drive. All right, well, here your phone. Let's go out to Eddie, who is in Vancouver. Eddie, I appreciate your phone call. Let's go out to Eddie, who is in Vancouver. Eddie, I appreciate your phone call, my friend. What are your thoughts on Micah Nori? Eddie, Vancouver, what's up? Fire away.
Oh, I had it on mute. My bad.
That's
Chad,
okay.
My son's name is Micah, so that's a plus there. But just hearing those sound bites of how he talks, man, I was thinking in my head, I was like, God diggity dog. God diggity dog. I'm ready, you know. I think he's gonna do good. I watched that finals Williams finals where he coached and he took his team to the finals. He did a good job there, and guess what else? We ain't got much of a choice, do we? You know what I'm saying? So we just got to just sit here and wait and just hope everything plays out the way that we want. And like you said, man, it's a good day to be a Blazer. And whoever that was that said this show was the Blazer talk and much more. And here comes the much more. I just want to, Chad, I was off for the whole month of May. If you remember, I had rest my ankle. I had to be in a boot. And so I talked to you one of the second to last NBA Finals game. And that was the last time I talked to you. But I had a lot of things on my mind since then. One of them is we were talking about Soundtrack Friday, and we were talking about Kenny Loggins' Nobody's Fool.
Yes.
And we were talking about Caddyshack 2. So the other day, Caddyshack, the first one was on, and I remember I'm 50. I'll be 54, next month. I was born in 72.
Yeah.
So anyway, I remember that Caddyshack, and there's like some lines that's memorable, like Rodney Dangerfield. I could see where the jockey, was beating on the, we just complaining about, but I just don't remember. I know you and Burkhart, I don't know if it's you and Shaq, we talk about like Pet Detective, and the one-liners. There are so many one-liners in Caddyshack 2. You said it was hot garbage, but I had to watch it the other day because I was bored with the first Caddyshack. I was like, let me go to Caddyshack 2, and I found it and I watched it, dude, and I was like, man, Randy Quaid and the whole idea about like the rich people with the working class.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like a good and trying to fit in type thing. But my point was, man, I think you need to watch it again, and you might have a different take.
Well,
and maybe for me too, maybe because it was 1988, and that was a good. I think my sophomore year in high school, I went to Oregon State basketball camp. I sucked, but I went, and I went to Grant High School. Grant had won state champion, the previous year, so it was a good, it was just a really good summer. But anyway, I was like, man, Chad's the golfer too. I was like, man, maybe rewatch that movie. You might think that's kind of funny. I don't say hot garbage. There were some stupid parts, but But and one more thing that when you went to the last commercial, Baby Come Back. I don't know if any of you or your listeners ever watched the Simpsons episode where Marge went on vacation on a private vacation just herself and left Homer to watch the kids, and he lost Maggie. So Homer called the missing children's hotline, and they put him on hold. And the song he was listening to when he was on hold was "Baby Come Back." Every time I hear that song, I always sing that Simpsons episode. And Homer's listening; he's like twiddling his fingers, listening to "Baby Come Back."
That's great. That's great. Dude, I appreciate.
Man, I love you, man, and I hope you're having fun out there on the golf course this summer, and love listening to you when I'm working, and when I was off, I was listening to you too, man. So keep doing what you're doing. We love you out here, man.
I appreciate it, buddy. I'll make you a deal. I'll go back and watch Caddyshack 2 again. What I've learned is when I go back and watch a movie a second or a third time, sometimes I realize that maybe it's a little bit better than I thought in my mind. Like Rocky V is the worst Rocky ever. And even Stallone mentioned on multiple occasions that he probably shouldn't have done the movie that way because it was terrible. But I've rewatched it a few times, and it's still not great, but it's not as bad as I originally thought it was. It's just pales in comparison to the others. But I'll go check out Caddyshack 2 again. I'll watch it again just to hear the Kenny Loggins song. That's a great song. And Kenny Loggins back in the day was like he was frankly a soundtrack master. Let's go back out to the phones. Raider Mike wants to share thoughts on my man Daniel Gresham, who's going to donate his kidney to his best friend. Raider Mike, what's up?
Well, me and Daniel were adversaries for years. We used to go after each other with his dumb jokes and stuff. and now I'm calling for the first time in our 8 or 9 year history to prop him up and say, good dude.
Yeah.
Well done, bro. That's outstanding. I mean, I'm in the same boat as both you guys. You can have my kidneys, whatever you need. If I'm gonzo, take it.
Yeah.
You know, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If somebody gets to live with a part of me inside them, go for it, man. So anyway, I'm not gonna go after Daniel like I normally do. So I'm just gonna say, hey, rock and roll, bro. That's just cool, and that's good karma. That'll give you great karma the rest of your life. Part of it. The new owner. I really appreciate that interview you played, because I was just kind of out in the dark with this guy. The money thing. He took Carolina. I think they're the smallest market in the NHL. I mean, they're way smaller than Portland, and brought him a title pretty damn quickly. He's got a track record that's like, whoa. He took this tiny little team and hurricane it. Just created a storm, and now they've got Lord Stanley's Cup. So I like the guy. I mean, the contract with, how do you pronounce his name? Nori?
Micah Nori.
Yeah, okay. It's a little strange to me. I've never seen a prove-it deal with a coach. Can you remember one, Chad? Where
No, not with the first-time coach signing on. No, it's new.
Yeah, I've never heard of that in my life. So, but I can't question it because I just got a ring with Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm smack dab in the middle of Appalachia here, and it's unheard of. And North Carolina is still it's still vibing over that title. So more power to him, man. And unlike the suffering he had for years with Jody, with her security force in Speedos, the penguin skulls, giraffe bones, and then a trust. I quit watching the Blazers for a few years. You know?
Well, that's where I have my reason for hope. I mean, Dundon's had great success in Raleigh, and like you said, they're still vibing over it. I mean, he's driven. He wants to win. I'm excited about it, Raider Mike. No question about it. And that's why I'm going to give him time to let him make some decisions, and we'll see what he's all about and what he's able to do in the NBA. Now, let's take a listen to some more of this meeting. Tom Dundon addressing the negotiations going on to get the funding necessary for the Moda Center renovations. Going on to get the funding necessary for the Moda Center renovations.
So we're a lot better off. So that means it took 8 years in Carolina. It's 4 here.
The 7 years that we didn't win were the worst. When the losing happened, when the season's over, it crushes me, and I'd like to not to do that too often.
Agreed. So we'll just have to win a championship every year. Is that good with everybody here? Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So let's the intensity of sports, I think, can a lot of times be compared with the intensity of politics. So let's talk about Portland politics. And we have people who have stood up and served in public office and done hard things. Many of them are with us in the room today. And you have operated in multiple states, right? You've worked with different governments, different elected officials. So give us a sense and address the cultural differences as it relates to business. What can we learn from the other places that you've operated in about something we can take back here to Portland that we could do that would work well here?
Yeah, so I'm not into politics at all. Like, I just leave that to other people. I think just in general, you want to create an environment of growth and competition and innovation, and that's the job. So I don't have any advice on how to do it. It's not mine, but it seems like they're trying. I like your mayor a lot. I like your governor a lot. So is he here?
He's here, front row. Mayor Wilson's here. Governor Kopech's here.
I mean, I think the people I've met are nice people that care, and there are some constraints around here that you got to find a way around so you can get to growing.
get to growing, just like the governor asked us to do. Yes, Governor, we will do that. Okay, so you have about 1,000 people that are here today. They're public, private, nonprofit, academic, it's everybody. Public employers, community organizations, university, media, everybody. What's your call to action to us? What does Portland need to be a major league city, not just for tomorrow, not just for the 2030 Women's Final Four, but for the next 50 years?
I think it's the same answer. It's right. Like, how do we find a way to put people in a position where they want to innovate, where you want to grow, and it feels like there's a lot of people thinking about it, but you know, I wake up every day wanting to do things a certain way, but that doesn't make it right for everybody else. So I don't really want to tell other people what they should do, but I think it seems obvious that if we just push to do more, then maybe some good things happen.
Well, this community pushes hard. It's had an incredible run of 30 years of prosperity, and it's had a few hard years, and I think we're sort of grappling with what do we do now? That growth isn't just falling down on us, right? That we are struggling with how to compete, like the governor said. So I think those words are sage advice, because I think it is something that's going to be necessary to be a resilient community, to be a successful community. And one thing I just sort of want to, first off, sort of end with you on is, I mentioned to you that, proud Green Bay Packers team owner. Okay, it's one share, don't laugh at that. But I say that because when I grew up, green and gold all the way, and it's a town of about 100,000 people. There's more folks that fit into the stadium than are in the entire city of Green Bay. And that fan base is incredibly connected and deeply rooted to place, right? Because why would you ever put a major league sports franchise in a 100,000 person city? But what I have learned, because I moved here about 8 years ago from Brooklyn, is that the connection that this state has with this team and with this franchise is in so many ways akin to the connection and love people feel for the Packers. Like, this is the thing that brings our state together, and it's the thing that gives people a sense of universal pride to see the city and the state on the big screen, on the flyovers, when the season's in action. And so I just want to say to you how much it means to us, this place, this team, and this facility. And I just want to say thank you for investing in our city. Thank you for stepping up into the ownership spot and for bringing the ownership and investment group with us here today. And we wish you and your team nothing but success, because your success, this team's success, this means the world to everybody in this room. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Tom Dundon from the Portland Metro Chamber meeting. So what do you think? I mean, he seems like he has a pretty good head on his shoulders in terms of what he wants to accomplish and what he wants to do. And that goes back to what I was talking about. See, I'm watching the news. I shouldn't do that. Horrifying midair emergency. Plane diverts to Boston after pilot becomes incapacitated. That's problematic.
You got any stories on the earthquakes? One in Northern California, waking up the fault lines down there, and then Venezuela had a 7.5 earthquake today.
I remember when I was working in the Bay Area, we were in the middle of a show, and I was the station was right there in the smack dab in the middle of downtown, and we got our first little earthquake. The building rocked a little bit, scared the daylights out of me. And the people who grew up there, who were in the studio with us, are like rookies. I'd never been through it before, so I didn't know what it would feel like. But yeah, very interesting. 503-248-0620. All right, so there. We just heard from Tom Dundon. We're going to get the press conference from Micah Nori tomorrow. But the Blazers are in a good spot right now. Got their coach, they got leadership at the top, and now they can focus on the work that needs to be done on the roster. And do they go big game hunting? Do they stand pat and augment and focus on internal development? I mean, that's the part that's most exciting to me, is what direction they take and what opportunities are out there to, dramatically improve the roster. Like, that's really what I want to see. And that's what I'm pumped up about. It's exciting. And, the Blazers now, coming off a successful season, got a chance to go out there and continue to, make improvements. And Joe Cronin's done good work because they've got the team in a position where they've got, assets both in draft picks and in valuable contracts that could be used to make deals happen. And, you just got to go out and find the right deal, the right, trade partner and get something done. But Tom Dundon wants to win, doesn't want to wait forever to win, and will be aggressive to do so. That part's nice. Like, he's not going to sit back and not take chances. And I like that. I like owners that are willing to be aggressive. And I'll applaud an owner. If they get aggressive and make a move that they think is going to put them over the top, but they miss the mark for whatever reason, I can applaud that type of activity. Being aggressive, wanting to win, and taking a chance now and then. I think it's great. Some owners, some general managers are averse to risk, but some want to take a chance to make it happen. Yeah, I'm seeing the highlights right now, Shacker, of the 5.6 magnitude quake down in California. Crazy.
Venezuela buildings are collapsing.
Do you remember any earthquakes when you grew up?
Yeah.
Down in the Bay?
Yeah, my first thought you were talking about an earthquake memory. I remember I was on the toilet once, and I had to get up, and I saw the water just splashing around.
Where were you during the 89 quake during the World Series?
I was watching a World Series pregame show, waiting for the game to start.
Were you here or down there?
I was down in the Bay Area, San Jose. Not much damage in the area where I lived, but I did hear my neighbor's china shelf fall down and just shatter. It sounded pretty loud, but it just was some broken plates in our neighborhood.
It's just part of life down there, isn't it?
Yeah. But it says stand in a doorway. How is that going to help you when your house collapses on top of you? I don't know where it's safe if there's an earthquake. Because you run outside, you got power lines and other issues.
Well, at least I grew up in tornado country. At least when a tornado is about to come through, you can go underground.
Yeah, they tell kids to get under your desk if there's an earthquake. I don't think that's going to protect you if the ceiling collapses on you.
Well, they did the same thing for, we get under our desk in a tornado. Excuse me, teacher, I'm not sure this is a good idea.
Yeah, shattered glass. Give me a break.
Crazy. Yeah, we did. Our town got wiped off the map by a tornado in 84. Enjoying by the grace of God. Crazy. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Rip City Drive. Appreciate your time. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday. God, crazy. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Rip City Drive. Appreciate your time. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday afternoon. Right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Rip City Drive, Major League scoreboard right now. Bottom of the checking the Major League scoreboard right now. Bottom of the 7th in Tampa, Rays 5, Royals 2. Yankees lead the Tigers 4-2, top of the 8th in Detroit. And the Pirates have scored 8 unanswered and now are on top of the Mariners by a score of 8-1. Top of the 7th in D.C., Nationals 4, Phillies 3. Astros and Jays tied up at 1. Middle of the 6th in Toronto. Cubs and Mets locked up at 4 into the 5th in New York. And the Brewers shutting out the Cubs 3-zip, bottom of the 5th in Cincinnati. Middle of the 4th in Minnesota, Dodgers 4, Twins 3. Cardinals on top of the Diamondbacks 1-zip, top of the 4th in St. Louis. Bottom of the 1st in San Diego. Braves and Padres are scoreless. Earlier finals, Marlins 4, Rangers 2. Cubs rout the Mets 10-3. Final in 10, Guardians 4, White Sox 3. Rockies over the Red Sox in Colorado 8-6. And the Angels edge the Orioles 7-6 in 10 innings down in Anaheim. If you look at the standings right now in Major League Baseball, Yankees lead the Rays by 3 in the AL East. White Sox and Guardians tied atop the Central. Mariners a 2.5 game lead on the A's right now in the AL West. Braves a 5.5 game lead on the Phillies in the NL East. Brewers 6 games in front of the Cardinals in the Central. And the Dodgers a 9-game advantage on the Padres. Let's go out to the phones. Telephone number 503-248-0620. Let's go out to Silverton. It's a great spot. Kevin, appreciate the phone call, Kev. You're up on the Rip City Drive. What's on your mind?
Hi, John. I'm thinking about the new owner. I've done a lot of research on him. I love the way he's a hands-on owner, and he's a winner, And I took a look at the research. Through research, how he developed the Canes to the championship, to the Stanley Cup. And I think when he was looking for a coach, he wasn't just looking for experience. He's also looking for chemistry. So I think that's the fit right there. And I think we really need to give Nori a chance because I really feel like good things are on the horizon. And I think this is our time.
I'm pretty excited. I agree with your assessment, Kevin. I'm pumped about the future. They've got leadership at the top now, direction from Tom Dundon. They have a general manager who has restocked the cupboard, so they got assets to work with. And they've got a good young roster with some promising young players who are coming off a winning season. And through internal development will be better next year. And they've got a chance now with the start of the new league year coming up in just a few days to go out and improve the roster. So, yeah, I like where they're at. I really do. I don't buy into this whole sky is falling nonsense that's around town right now. People are freaking out. I've never seen anything like it. Like, so many people, fans, concerned about the contract signed by Micah Nori. Who cares? He's the coach. If he comes in and proves himself, he's going to get locked up long term. Bottom line. Dundon's got a way of doing things. And frankly, it worked. He got the best assistant available at the price he wanted. Is it a conventional contract? No, but it doesn't mean it's not going to work out. If Nori comes in and coaches well, he'll get a new deal with more security. And if not, the Blazers will move on until they find, the coach that's the right fit that's going to work. And, I think coaching is important, but I'm still going to lean on the roster and the players that you have available to play. I still think the talent that you have is going to be more important than anything else. I've seen great coaches not have great players and don't win basketball games. That's all. You got to have the players. And this team and this roster is getting better. They've got a chance to improve it during the offseason. That's a good thing. Micah Nori, the Trailblazers' new head coach, will be introduced tomorrow at 11, and I'll have a full breakdown for you on the Rip City Drive. But I'm excited about Nori. I mean, his reputation is pretty rock solid around the league, and there's a lot of people that think he's going to have a chance to have great success, which is pretty awesome. 503-248-0620. Oh, I love the summertime. I love the long days. I love blue skies. I love sunshine. I love being warm. That's the best. Man, I love it. It just goes by too quick. That's the problem. Going to be heading down to Shadow Hills this weekend. Little golf tournament down there. And then we got the 4th of July weekend coming up. So a lot of things to be excited about. But most importantly, it's a good time to be a Blazer fan. No longer run by a trust. They got direction at the top, and they have an owner that wants to win and an owner that's going to invest in the players to be able to make that happen. It's a very good thing. It's a really good thing. And just if you take the contract part out of it for a second, the Blazers got a good coach. That's the bottom line. Who cares about the contract? They got a good coach. And let's give, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to give Dundon, time before I pass judgment. He hasn't been on the job long enough to know what it's all about. But really, what is there to be upset about? They're on the verge of getting this deal done for the arena improvements. Young roster, a lot of assets to work with thanks to Joe Cronin. New coach that a lot of people are excited about. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. So I'm pretty excited. Let's see here. And we'll catch you in good phone calls today. Love the interaction. You guys have a wonderful night, and we'll catch you back tomorrow. Calls today. Love the interaction. You guys have a wonderful night, and we'll catch you back tomorrow. I'll react to the Micah Nori press conference, and we'll have a chance to hear from him, which is pretty cool. And then we'll go from there. 503-248-0620. Write that number down. And don't forget, next Tuesday, we'll have Hops Ticket Tuesday. All right, for Michael Shacker, I'm Chad Doing. Have a good night, my friends. We'll catch you tomorrow at 3 here on the Rip City Drive.